After the titular tragedy unfolds in Mark Wahlberg's 2016 biographical disaster film Deepwater Horizon, the movie only briefly mentions what happens to the survivors in the wake of their rescue. While Wahlberg's Mike Williams, a chief electronics technician, serves as the film's protagonist, Kurt Russell's James, Mr. Jimmy Harrell is crucial to Deepwater Horizon's plot. An offshore installation manager, Jimmy Harrell is responsible for looking over the Tanzanian-owned offshore drilling rig. Since Deepwater Horizon is based on a true story, the film foreshadows the impending tragedy by shining a harsh light on the rig's faults. During an inspection on April 20, 2010, Mike and Mr. Jimmy are both surprised to learn that BP failed to thoroughly test the integrity of the rig's new cement work. The workers, who were sent home early, failed to complete an all-important log. Although Mike and Jimmy see the red flag, their concerns don't outweigh the decisions of BP managers Donald Vidrine and Robert Kaluza, who just want the rig to drill as much product as quickly as possible. Of course, it's that faulty, untested cement work that fails, triggering the Deepwater Horizon disaster's initial catastrophic blowout. Jimmy Harrell wasn't charged for his involvement in the Deepwater Horizon explosion. All manslaughter charges against 2 other employees were dropped. According to testimony from the real-life Mike Williams, the equipment at play in the Deepwater Horizon disaster was clearly in a state of disrepair, but BP's higher-ups chose to ignore the obvious safety concerns in favor of profits, via Financial Post. After the initial blowout, an unfortunate chain of malfunctions with said equipment left the team in shambles. With the well not sealed, the oil ignited, eventually causing the rig to erupt in flames. As oil spewed into the Gulf of Mexico off the Louisiana coast, a nearby drill team vessel, the Damon Bankston, careened toward the explosion. Jimmy Harrell manages to survive the series of life-threatening events, though he becomes gravely injured. When Mike saves him, Mr. Jimmy faces a hard truth: the rig can't be saved. Ultimately, Deepwater Horizon became the worst oil spill in U.S. history. The unsealed well spewed oil for a staggering 87 days, flooding the Gulf with roughly 210 million gallons of oil. Although 11 people died in the Deepwater Horizon disaster, only Vidrine and Kaluza were prosecuted for their involvement. Despite being charged with 11 cases of manslaughter, the BP manager's charges were dismissed 5 years after the deadly incident. How Jimmy Harrell was still deeply affected by the Deepwater Horizon event. The tragedy took an emotional and physical toll on Jimmy and other survivors. Deepwater Horizon explosion on the movie poster. Although Jimmy Harrell was in charge of drilling on the Deepwater Horizon when 11 workers lost their lives, testimony from the crew revealed that he was unafraid to speak his mind. In fact, in the lead-up to the disaster, Mr. Jimmy warned the higher-ups at BP that the well seal hadn't been properly tested, which he felt was a danger to the crew as well as the operation at large. Although federal investigators tried to strike a plea deal with Jimmy, a confession of criminal negligence in exchange for dropping the manslaughter charges, Harrell opted out.